எப்படி இருக்கு? ஆல்ரெடி எல்லாமே பார்த்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீல் இருக்கா? Let me take you through. First, try to understand what do you mean by statistics. Okay. Before understanding statistics, at least you need to understand what do you mean by mathematics. Math. What do you mean by math is you talk about numbers, the beauty of numbers. Sometimes number is not represented. Okay, for example, if I give you this one, what is this? Okay, you got 2 marks in mathematics. It gives more meaning to that. Mathematics is something where you talk about only numbers. You need not give the meaning. What you can do with this 2 mark, this 2. I can add 2, I can subtract 2, I can multiply, I can divide, I can do anything. This is what you call as arithmetic operations. When I say 2 marks, it gives more meaning. Okay. Mathematics, practically, if we deal, we can call this as statistics or we can call this as operation research. So, statistics you might have heard or you might have studied in your school days. What about operational research? You have heard of this term? Probably you might have studied this transportation problem in your school. Huh? This is nothing but operation research. That's not mathematics or statistics, it's operation research. What is the difference between statistics and operation research? Probably, I'll just take a small example. You are here at SSA and your home is here. Probably online students, you're at home and you want to travel SSA. The students present here, you are at SSA, you want to go to home. So you're asking me when the class gets over, ma'am? Just now I started. It will get over only by 12:30. So from here to here, in how many modes you can travel? Either here or here. In how many modes you can travel? I'm not asking which mode you travel. What are the different modes available to travel? Yes, please. Can you please list it out? One say, I come by bike, ma'am. Okay, not at 18 years over, but still I come by bike, ma'am. One say, come by cycle. I say, my house is very nearby, ma'am. I come by walk. Okay, one say, I take a bus. Okay, it's just 2, 3 stoppings, or I have to travel 1 hour by bus, ma'am. So I come by bus. Yes, what are the modes? You come by train. Okay, some student comes from Ariolu. Okay, they take a train to Trichy. I know one student earlier batch or some 2 batches earlier. She comes from Kumbakonam. Okay, she takes a bus from there, from her home to the railway station, from railway station to Trichy railway station. Then she comes by share auto or something. Okay, so auto or you can take share auto also. Okay, we did not talk about auto. Auto or share auto, you can come by train. Ma'am, if you have a helipad, ma'am, on the terrace of your academy, probably you'll come by helicopter, ma'am. Okay. Now my question is, why you study CA or CMA? You are well enough to come in helicopter means why you study CA or CMA? See, there are different options. Okay, different modes. Okay, probably if Singer Academy is an island, you may be taking a ship or you may be taking a yacht. Okay, you'll be enjoying the sea and coming back. Okay, so you have all different options. Okay, now what I do here is, how many come by bike? Randomly I choose and I say that 5 come by bike, 2 come by cycle, okay, 4 come by walk, some 10 students come by bus. Okay, I'm choosing means I'm asking her, you come by bike? No, ma'am, I come by train. Okay, I'll put a line. I ask her, you come by helicopter or you come by walk path? No, no, ma'am, I take a share auto. I'll take a line. Okay, so like this, I'll draw some lines. I'll put a bar. But did this in your school? You call this tally marks, tally bars. Okay, then I draw. So this is how I found this 5 students. Okay, this 5 tables is quite easy, no? Easiest table in the world is 1 table. It's 1,000 table, no 1 lakh table. Next easy thing is 2 tables, 5 tables, 10 tables. Okay. So that's why we draw this tally marks and we cut this by a line and we call this as tally block. Okay. So this was once in the question paper for CA foundation exam. See how easy is the question paper? If you draw line by line, tally marks or tally bars. If you draw 4 lines and cut by a line, you call this as tally block. Okay, block of 5 TD. So a helicopter, some one single student comes and ship one single student comes. So I just collect all the data. Okay, yeah. This is what you call as statistics. But what happens here is after collecting, I may be having some constraints. Constraint means probably because of this terror attack or some air weather condition is not good or there is a tsunami coming on. Okay, so you cannot take a helicopter, you cannot take a ship or yacht. So I violate this one. This is a constraint. What do you mean by constraint? Some restriction or some conditions are there. So I'm not going to take a helicopter, I'm not going to take a ship. Okay, so my legs are very paining, I'm not going to come by walk. Okay, probably you'll be besting your dad or mom to drop you. Okay, so if I have restrictions or constraints, that instead of this 8 options, now it gets reduced to 4 options or 3 options, or why not maybe 1 option. This is what you call as operation research. Else, out of these 8 options, cost wise, which is viable? Tell me, cost wise, which is viable? Walking is viable, but your home is at some 50 kilometers far away. Is walking better now? No. Okay, so walking is not viable. You come by cycle, definitely you don't come by cycle. Probably bike may be an option. Most probably you'll take a bus or train. Share auto is not much also viable because share auto for 50 kilometers, nobody will be sharing. Helicopter, again, if you want to show your get and all, okay, you may be taking a helicopter and ship, I don't know. So Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka is after all like 30 to 40 kilometers, they say. Traveling from Rameshwaram to Dhanushkodi or Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka. It's just 35 to 40 kilometers, they say, by ship. Okay. But obviously, Singar Academy is not over there. So obviously, ship is also not viable. So obviously, what happens is I may take a bus or a train. See, my constraint is now because of this cost. Constraint is a cost now, and now it has been reduced to 2 options. Overall, what are the options available? Available. I have some constraints. Depending on the constraints, I have to choose the options. That's what you call as operational research. That's what was simple. So you know what is statistics now? I check what are the options available. I check who are all come by bus, who are all come by cycle. I remember one of my student in Chennai. She did CS Foundation. Okay, she did CS Foundation. You know, fees is very nominal. Okay, and to and fro she travels around from. She comes from OMR. It's around some 45 kilometers from Singar Academy, Chennai Center. She comes around some 40 to 45 kilometers. She takes a cab. In the morning, she comes. She comes only for Sunday class. Okay. She comes in the morning. By 9 o'clock, she will come. It's for 9 to 6 class, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. class. She picks a cab at 7 p.m. and reaches at 8:30 or something. 9 o'clock class starts. 6 o'clock it ends. Then she'll pick a cab. Then reaches by 8 p.m. Okay. So how I chat with you here now? I was asking her, how you come? I take a cab, ma'am. Okay. I was further detailed because they had statistics at that time. I was further asking some questions. How you feel the comfort? Because she's from different state. Okay. How you feel the comfort? How you feel with the Tamil peoples? So etc. etc. I was asking and she was saying, I pay 2,500 for cab. If she comes for 4 times to Singar Academy, is the total fee for CS Foundation. She pays 2,500 only for morning trip and 2,500 for. So one time she comes, she has to spend 5,000. So tell me, which is costlier? Studying CS Foundation is costlier? Yes, obviously. But which makes more costlier is because of coming to Singar Academy. She was asking at that time, ma'am, why don't you conduct online classes, ma'am? That's all before COVID. I'm talking this somewhat between 2016, 17. Okay. So after COVID, only this online classes got picked up, right? So before that, she'll be asking me, well, why no online classes? Because I have to spend 5,000, ma'am. Okay. That was a different experience. Okay. So those time only we got this thought. Why we need not conduct online classes? So it's better for most of the students, right? She's able to pay for this amount for one day. It's okay. Okay, so just think I was handling some 14 classes for her. It's 14 into 5,000 is a total CS course fees. Okay, she was just paying for this 14 weeks class. 14 Sundays only she came. Other classes she will not come. Because we'll have some 3 hours, 4 hours class, she'll not come. Only for Sunday she'll come. And Sunday she'll ask me to have in the time to be statistics. Because she's weak in maths and stats. So some have this feel like uh, we're not getting maths at all. Who found this maths numbers? Who found this maths formulae? Okay, we usually have this problem. Okay, let me go for the content. Today's heading is statistical. You can have the heading as description of data or interpretation of data. Okay, we'll come in detail. What do you mean by statistical description or statistical interpretation of data? First, try to understand what do you mean by data. What do you mean by data? Whatever you collect is data. Probably, if you want to differentiate this term, actually this term is out of our scope. It's not in our syllabus in statistics. We have two things called as one is data, information, and the third one we have something called as knowledge. Okay. Data is something what is available around you. Okay. To me, what is next to me? I have a calculator, I have a pen, I have a mobile, I have a pencil, I have a tab, I have a pen, I have this girl also next to me. This is all data for me. Okay. Is this data useful for my analysis? Is what you call as info, which is suitable for my analysis. I'm going to find something. I'm going to analyze something. I'm going to check the weather. Okay, why you want to check the weather? When you're sitting under an AC and handling the classes. No, I have a plan to go for an outing at 12:30. The weather is very hot. I want to choose a restaurant where I can have my good lunch. I'm going to choose an AC restaurant or a normal restaurant. I'll go and check the weather. Tell me, which restaurant do you choose? Don't go too personal. I'm asking it very commonly. How many dosa lovers here? How do you like dosas? Even though you have number of dosas at your home, you find the cap dosa and this big roll family like paper roast. How many are dosa lovers? You go to hotel, every time you order dosa, and every time your mom gets tense up. How many dosas you eat at home? You're also dosa, wa? Okay. And that dosa is different, no? That crispy color, that they'll have it like a roll cylinder shape. That will be different. Okay. Having dosa at a AC restaurant is not at all a good choice. You know why? Eating under the fan is also not a good choice because it will fly away either. Yes. You might have seen the server holding the dosa on the top, like his finger will be like a paperweight for the dosa. He'll be bringing the plate. Okay. Dosa under an AC restaurant or under a fan is not at all a good choice because under an AC restaurant, if you sit, the dosa will harify. Correct? Huh? Under the fan, the dosa will fly away. You cannot enjoy dosa, especially paper roast and talking. You can have onion uttapam. Okay. You can have onion uttapam for AC restaurant. Okay. This is what you call as info. Okay. See, I'm teaching statistics, pa. Don't think I'm chatting with you. Data is something what are all is around us. Okay. Info is something which data will be helpful for us to analyze. And knowledge is something you're going to do some further research. And if you look out of this heading, it's called a statistical interpretation of data, which means you have some data, you want to describe or you want to interpret the data in a statistical manner, which means for further analysis, you need to have data in a proper format. So when we use this term statistics, suddenly what it appears in your mind is statistics, ma'am. I know how to find mean, ma'am. Summation x by n. Statistics mean nothing, ma'am. Finding mean, median, mode, more in-depth means you'll go for standard deviation, variance. We call only this as statistics. See, we are going to consider these as measures for statistics interpretation of data. Okay. This is how we are going to interpret the data. Okay. Have you ever wondered why you find percentage of marks in your exams? Okay. I hope everybody have this ranking system in your school, right? You got this report card, first rank, second rank, third rank. Okay. Who got last but second rank? Anybody raising hands along with me? Last but second rank. Usually I get 17 or 18th rank only out of 40, 55 students. I'll not come below 10 and all. Okay. If you come below 10 rank, no, you'll be highlighted in the class. Who are the first 10 rank holders? I have to lift my hand. Then the focus and all will be on me. Not necessary. Tell me. Who got this last but second rank? Don't get last but second rank because your focus will be on you only. You're getting last and last but second rank. This ranking system, this percentage of marks is nothing but statistical interpretation of data. You agree with me? Why you call this statistical interpretation of data? How you find the percentage of marks? Okay, you take 5 subjects marks. Subject 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. First subject, any subject, English, Tamil or math or whatever it is. First subject, you're getting 85. Second one, you're getting some 73. Third one, 90. Fourth one, 9. Okay. Why you want to be above average always? 9. And fifth one, some 99. Okay. Now tell me, how you find the percentage? You need not find the value, just tell me how you find this. You add everything, you divide by 5. Okay. And you multiply by 100 because you want to express as a percentage. This is nothing but statistical interpretation of data. What you have did here, you have taken the summation of all the values. Sum of all the values is summation x. Divide by 5 subjects marks n. This is what you call a statistical interpretation. I cannot compare each and every mark, but instead what I do, I take some average. This average here is mean and you multiply by 100 because you will represent this as a percentage. And how the ranking is done? How the ranking is done? Is how the ranking is done? The highest percentage will be taking the first rank, then second rank, then third rank. Obviously, you have failed in this paper, will not come in the ranking system. Okay, fine. This is a mode of representation. The same thing we are doing here also in statistical interpretation of data. Actually, by definition, is a process. Okay, you need not take a note of anything. Everything is there in the material. It's a process where you collect the data first. Okay, collection of data happens first. Then you go for classifying the data. So classification. Then you go for tabulation. Actually, you will not call this as tabulation. You call this as presentation. I'll come later with this part in detail. Then you go for analyzing. Then you go for interpretation. These are the 5 stages involved in statistics. Let me come again. What's the first stage? Collection of data. Then you classify, you tabulate, you analyze, and then you interpret. In my example, where I was just using this, tell me, what is collection of data? How I, as a class teacher or as a subject teacher, how I collected the data? I conducted a test. Okay, I corrected the test paper. Okay, then you know all these maths teachers, they'll have a big 0. Okay, this we were discussing last class. Big 0, then you'll find small 99. Okay, you might be thinking, might be getting 100 marks in the maths, sentiment maths, and you find a big 0 in a paper. Anybody got this tension? Okay. So the marks is noted over here, right? So what the teacher does here, he or she conducts a test, corrects the paper, then she note down the marks, noted down. Okay. This is what you call as collection of data. This is a lengthy process. In different circumstances, it happens very differently. If you go for a medical lab, how the data is collected? They call it sample, blood sample. How the blood samples are collected? A blood sample will be taken. You might be finding that tray, like that glass piece, like it will be dropped. Okay. Classification. Probably here I was discussing with respect to ranking. Who got the first rank? Who got the second rank? Okay, it's again a small process. So this is classification. Actually, this is a detailed content I'll discuss later. What do you mean by tabulation? Presenting in a beautiful way, putting in a table. Okay, I say this exam, what you write here will be taken for your final marks. What you do? Immediately, you take a scale, you take a pencil, you draw the box and the, this is what you call as tabulation. You know the contents are same. Whether you draw the box or you do not draw the box, the content are same. How you write a balance sheet, how you present a balance sheet. Asset side, liability side, I think horizontal balance sheet only we follow till now. So asset side, liability side, okay. This is your final exam. What you do? Immediately you take a scale, ruler and a pencil. You draw the asset side, liability side box, everything, balance, that figure has to be boxed. Everything, that's what you call as tabulation, presenting in a proper, decent manner. Actually, it's a very good form of doing it, but we are not going to use in CA and all. Then we analyze, then we interpret. These 5 stages put together is what you call as statistics. The very first example, what we were doing here. Yes, can you tell me what's the collection of data here? First stage is collection. Yes, how you collected here? I ask the students how you come per. You come by bus, you come by cycle, which means I chat with you, okay, and I collect the data. Yes, classification. How I classified here? How many come by bike? How many come by cycle? How many come by walk? So on. I have taken already 6 modes. Sorry, 8 modes. Then what's the next one? Tabulation. How I tabulate? I present in a very beautiful manner. I'll take a table. Usually when I talk about a table, I have a table heading. Every time when you talk about table, you need to have a table heading. Okay. What's the table heading here? Different. Any table heading you can give different modes of transportation of Singer Academy students. Is it okay? Just some heading I give. Then I need to give column headings. What's the column heading? What's the column heading I can give? Yes, please join. What's the column heading I can give? Mode of transport and number of students. I place a star mark. I'll tell you why a bit later. Yes, mode of transport. First, bike. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Then how many come by bike? How many come by cycle? Etc. And the total. This is the number of students and this is the total number of students. And this total number of students is what you call as the total frequency. You might have heard of this term, frequency. Frequency means how frequent it happens. How frequent number of students come by bike. How frequent number of students come by shift. Frequency is repetitions, or you can call this as frequency. Okay. Or you can call this number of, with respect to probability, we'll call this as happenings. Happenings, non-happening, happenings. Or here we call this number of repetitions. How many times it's been repeated. Okay. This is called as frequency. This is called as frequency. This is called as total frequency. Is it okay? This is individually bike, cycle, auto, etc., individually called as classification. Okay. And this put together all the data in singular tabular form is what you call as tabulation. See, whenever you use the term tabulation, you have to use this something called as listing. Already we have done with set theory. You remember? Tabulation method or listing method. Tabulation means itself, see what we do, list it. List it. List it means it will come one by one. Balance sheet is a tabulation way of presentation. Agree with me? Asset, you list it. Liability, you list it. It's a way of tabulation only. Okay. So tabulation is nothing but listing. Listing is nothing but coming one by one. Is it okay? Okay. Yes. Tabulation is done. Then you analyze. What are you going to analyze? See, I'm just looking for a new building for SSA. Tell me in which locality I'll look for. It should be nearby the bus stop. It should be easy to locate. You should not, if you come by bus and if you take a share auto, if you come by train, that's not going to be a viable one. So what I do, it should be nearby a bus stop. Okay, so because many of my students come by bus, so obviously it happens. Many of my students come by helicopter, then SSA will be investing a helipad. See, my priority differs. That's what I call as analysis. Then at last, interpretation. Probably I want to develop Singer Academy in a different way. What I can do. Earlier, most of the institutions were working only offline. Then we planned for online. The reason why we closed Chennai SSA is because most are preferring online. Suddenly they feel like seeing us. Myself also. I remember one student. He came with all his luggages directly from Chennai. He landed here in Chennai Singer Academy. Morning by 6:30 is coming. He told, ma'am, I came by Rockfort, ma'am. I came by 5 o'clock into the railway station. I don't want to disturb you early morning. That's why I came by 6 o'clock. Hadapavi. 6 o'clock is also an early morning only. Okay. See, online classes are being picked up. So what we planned is better we close physical center at Chennai. See, this is what you call as interpretation, where you go for further analysis, or with the analysis, you go for further research, or we go for further planning. And remember, this fourth and fifth one, case to case, it differs. Okay, case to case, it differs. This analysis and interpretation is very personal. Personal in the sense that I may be thinking in a different manner, I may be designing, or I may be planning in a different manner. You may be planning in a different manner. Okay, okay, tell me. Uh, there may be many bike lovers here. Which color bike you like? You like bike or you don't know like you don't like bike? You might have seen many people driving a bike, right? Which colors you see often? Can tell, can share. I'm not asking the brand because many may not knowing the brand. I'm asking which color bike you have seen the most. Okay. Before that, I may extend further. Ladies, gents. Gents means boys, ladies means girls. Okay. Male and female gender. Okay. Okay. Uh, you might have seen females driving the bike and males also driving. Tell me which color they will like or which color you have seen the most. Male. I'll come for the males first. Even females can answer. Yes. Black. I have seen in black. White. Okay. Mm. Okay. Blue. Yes, online. You can also join. Mm. You know, there's some like some dark red. Like you cannot completely call this as maroon red. It's some light in maroon color, but dark in red. Okay. So I write it as red. I have seen most with black and red only. Blue is also there. Okay. Yes, I'll come for female. Also, you can join. Yes. First comes with pink color. Okay. Pink is meant for girls. You know the story why pink is meant for girls and blue is meant for boys? Probably you can take this as an assignment. So after the session gets over, after 12:30, okay, after the session gets over, you go and search why pink is for girls and blue is for boys. You know why pink is for girls? There is one queen. I don't know her name. Okay. Even I like pink. I like blue also. Okay. I like pink also. I like blue also. That queen, she liked pink color. So to honor her, pink is meant for girls. You know this for breast cancer, they'll be using pink color. For any programs related to women's, they'll be using pink color. Okay, Women's Day or some related events related to women means they use pink color. Pink is attractive because that queen liked pink color and they said every girl will like pink color. I like pink and blue both. Okay. So pink, yes. Yes, yes, please join. Purple, purple is quite famous with girls. Ah, black, okay. Mm, that's it. Huh? Okay, come for car. You have seen some like green color and yellow color in cars. Nowadays is electric vehicles. Green color, I don't know how they choose that color. Green and yellow. Okay. See, this is all a kind of statistical interpretation of data where you go for interpretation analysis. The last five steps we have, right? Fourth and fifth step, analysis and interpretation. And you might be noted this number board plates in vehicles. We have noted. We have noted the number. The number will be having this two alphabets TN. What does it mean? Tamil Nadu registration. We'll be having KL for Kerala, KA, Karnataka, etc. If it is a government vehicle, you have G. If the number plate where the alphabets and numbers are printed or done in green color, it's meant for electric vehicles. Okay. If it is for yellow board, it's meant for that what is a tourist private vehicle. So if you own a bike or car that it is having a white board means it's your own vehicle. If you have a yellow board means each and every post there'll be a police stopping you. Where you say it's a private vehicle. You are meant as a driver. Okay. Obviously the man who drives is a driver. I'm talking about with the yellow board. Okay. Okay, see, this is all statistical interpretation of data. What are other cases you can practically link to your life? You applied the statistical interpretation of data. What is statistical interpretation of data? Collection, classification, tabulation, analysis, and interpretation. Tell me where you have practically applied in your life. See, I gave some examples where you see with the bike color, where you see with the car color, where you see with the name boards. As a personal case, I have taken with respect to the number of marks. Okay. If I go more in detail, when I was working in colleges, we go with attendance list, how many passed, how many failed, etc. How many absent and how many present, etc. Okay, all this happens. In your personal life, you have done anything like this? You might have not checked. Okay, I have collected the data, I have classified. You might have not checked in this way, but definitely you might have done. Any ideas? Any recall you can do? Yes. I think you can give 5 examples. I'll give a small start. First one I'll try. Probably you might have gone to a birthday party or you're conducting a birthday party, your own birthday party. You want to make some arrangements. Okay, what type of arrangements you're going to do? Okay, or how many friends you're going to invite for your birthday, or your friend's birthday. What gift you're going to buy? Might have done right. Probably you might choose. அவனுக்கு என்ன பெரிய விஷயமா ஒரு பெண்ணை வாங்கி கொடுப்போம் போதும் உனக்கு அதுவே okay. Sometimes it happens. See, our friends only know. So you might have chosen whether to buy a pen or whether to buy a chocolate or whether to go for soft toys. Usually, girls go for soft toys. Busu busu bomma. Okay, okay. So these are all statistical interpretations. Okay, you might have gone to an ice cream shop, Arun ice cream or quality was. You find that big box containing different ice creams. You get confused which ice cream to buy. Okay, you take everything and see. That's nothing but collection of data. What data you collect? You see all the ice creams and your mind picturizes that, okay, butterscotch is there, this one is there, that one is there. Collection of data. Then you classify it. This will be having some a sharp taste. This will be having some mild taste. No, no, we'll go for some chocolate taste. You're classifying it. So all this happens in the ice cream shop. You're not doing it, your mind is doing it. Probably other three you can try. You can take it as an assignment, not all. Okay. Let me come in detail again. First one, now the examples. In the process of statistical interpretation of data, first one, collection of data. Collection of data, actually you can say as primary data and secondary data. Okay. What do you mean by primary data is, I collect it directly. See, it's about collection only. I directly involve myself and collect it, which means what? This is direct control will be there. Whereas in the case of secondary data, there is no direct control. It's called as indirect data, indirect collection of data. Uh, Terror attack is going on, and some, this cricket match, this team has won the match, etc. You're not having any control over the data, but seeing the news, seeing the channels news, you come to know this team has won and etc. Seeing the social media posts, you come to know this is not under your control. This is what is indirect collection of data. This is what you call as secondary data. Where as a teacher, I I conduct a test, I correct the test paper, etc. And if I find that, see, one student is there, he or she always does very good in mathematics, definitely the student will score 40 or 41. Okay, okay, 40 or 41. Suddenly seeing that paper, I find that student has got 80. What I'll do? I start correcting from the first. I won't believe myself, right? I start correcting from the first. And the student has got 80. Okay, no issues. Second, there is another one student will always get 90 or 95 plus. But this time got just 50. What I'll do? I'll go and correct again and again. This is what I call as direct one. Work for them personally, I know. Last three test mark will be taken and you will be chosen for the best students category and all. One test you have got 89. Okay. Or I'll take 99 itself. One test you got 99. I want to give, the principal has told that best math student award has to be given to a student in your class. I know one student. I have the student in my mind. Got 99 in one exam, one test. I have conducted three tests. Got 98. In another test, got 80 or some 81, something like that. Tell me, what I'm going to do with this mark? Mark wise, this third test is not viable for to give the award. But I know that student will perform very good in the test. What I'll do is, this instead of 80, I change it to 90, or this my student, I change it to 99. I can do this. It's not cheating. You don't see me this way. You do this, ma'am? Okay. I changed this to 99 because I know, because I'm associated with the student for the past 4 or 5 years. I know the student will do better, and this two tests he or she has done better. So this time what I do, I make internal changes because this is under my direct control, because I want to give the marks. The principal will not ask me how you got this marks. See, the student has got 99, ma'am, 98, ma'am. That's the student, man. You can give best mathematics award to the student. Best student for mathematics. Yes, I can do it because this is under my direct control if I'm correcting the paper. Okay, this is what we call as primary data, where you can take the control, where if you want to make some changes, you can change it because it's in your under your control. You can do it. That's allowed. This is what you call as primary data and secondary data. This falls under collection of data. Is it clear? Shall we go for the second one? Yes. Please help me out. What's the second one? Classification of data. Okay. Classification of data. We have four types of classification. One is quantitative classification. 1. 2. Qualitative classification. 3. Chronological classification. 4. Geographical classification. Okay. Quantitative classification. I check the height and weight of the students. Height, weight, marks. Okay, these are all comes under quantitative classification. Qualitative classification, gender-wise classification, male and female. How many male students and how many female students in my class? This is what you call as gender-wise, male, female. Okay. Else, how many CA students and how many CMA students in my class? Which means course-wise classification. Okay. How many come by bike and how many come by bus or car? This is also which means actually by definition you call this, you define by attributes. Attributes means you call this by characters. Okay, this is what you call as qualitative classification. When we go for the next category, third category, you call this chronological classification. You go with respect to date wise. Okay, date means it can be month wise, it can be time wise, it can be seconds wise. One patient is in ICU. Okay, critical ICU. Okay, you will not see the blood pressure check for each and every hour. You won't do that. Each and every second will be updated. Okay, you want to have anything that is very being serious means you have to make a each and every second check. So this date wise, or it can be time wise, second wise, minute wise, month wise, year wise, can be anything. Okay. Yes, fourth one, geographical classification, where what happens in north side and what happens in south side. Okay. What happens in different countries, or what happens in different states, probably population in different countries. India stands the first. So in the ranking, we'll be having the first place and so on. State-wise, you can check. Okay, literacy rate state-wise. And you know that we have this latest news GDP, we have the 6.5% growth. So I was discussing earlier. So GDP-wise, we want to classify. Okay, then we'll go for geographical classification, which means you go for the geography map. Exactly. Okay. So that may be with respect to India itself, you can classify North India, South India, state-wise, or you can go for country-wise, or you can classify for GDPs. This is not all. You use the state name, country name, nation names, etc. This is what you call as geographical classification. Okay. Then we'll go for next one. You remember what's the third one? I use the term tabulation, but instead I'm not going to use tabulation. You call this as representation. Okay. You call this as representation. What is representation means? I say something in paras and paras, words and words, which means you call this as descriptive form. Okay, I describe. I describe. Instead of describing, I try to tabulate everything. Means it's in tabulation form. Okay. Instead of tabulation, I take the help of diagrams, figures. Okay. How many chicken lovers and how many vegetable lovers? You might have seen in newspapers and all. For chicken lovers, chicken leg will be drawn or it will be pasted. For vegetable lovers, broccoli or cabbage. Remember? Okay. So this is diagrammatic representation. How many like chicken, which means non-vegetarians, and how many are vegetarians? Okay. Diagrams. Or we can take the help of graphs. But one drawback here is for graphs, we can go only with quantitative. Only for quantitative classification of data, we can go for graphs. Okay. For diagrams, we'll go for qualitative, we'll go for chronological, and we'll go for geographical. If we say it's a graph, so you know what is a graph? What's a graph? What do you mean by a graph? You'll have this x-axis, you'll have this y-axis, you'll take some units over here, over here. You know how you write the scale? Scale. X-axis, 1 centimeter is equal to, okay, if you write this correctly, you'll get 1 mark. Y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to, you remember? See, when we say x-axis 1 centimeter is equal to some 5 units or 1 unit or etc., you're talking about some measurement. Measurement is associated with quantitative data, not with qualitative, geographical or chronological. It's associated with quantitative data. Is it okay? So we have descriptive type of presentation, tabulation we have diagrams and we have graphs. And yes, fourth one, pa. Yes, fourth one, analyzing. So analysis, as I said, analysis and interpretation is somewhat personal. We have to discuss in a different way. Some may be taking mean, some may be taking median, some may be taking mode. Case to case it differs. Okay. So if you talk about tsunami, so you come with this latest news. In after June or July, there may be a tsunami wave coming on, which will be 200-meter tall. This is the news, upcoming news now. Okay. So we have to wait in June and July to get the measurement of tsunami highest tide. They say it's 200 or 240 meters highest tide, which may be less also. How you mention this as 200 or 240? That's what you call as mode. Mode is the highest representation. Okay. So analysis and representation, case to case, it differs. But usually we take, when we say statistics or when we say especially go for quantitative analysis of data, usually we'll talk about measures of averages. What is the measures of averages? You know, mean, median, mode, remember? Then we'll be taking help of averages and dispersions, which we have range, standard deviation or quartile deviation, mean deviation, okay, then standard deviation, variance will be taking help of all this. Interpretation is one step higher, where we'll be going for hypothesis testing. We don't have this content in our syllabus now. You might have studied in your school days, but we don't have this content. So interpretation one step ahead. Probably we'll be using correlation and regression. We have this in our syllabus. Okay, we will be taking in help of probability sometimes. All these are interpretation where case to case it will be differing. Depending on the applicability and depending on our need and circumstances, we'll be differing them. Okay, so you need not worry these things too in detail, but we'll be dealing all these in detail, in very detailed manner. Is it okay? If you want to make a note of anything, yes, you can please. Just have a fast glance with me. Introduction of statistics. How the statistics is, the term is used in different languages. In Latin, we call this a status. In Italian, statista. German, statistic, ending with K. French, statistic, Q-U-E, but still we pronounce as K only. Okay. Asked once in the exam. Application of statistics in all the area we use. Quantitative and qualitative information is used in economics, business management, statistics in commerce and industry. We use it everywhere. There's a very big limitation, very big list of limitation. Probably I'm not going to discuss immediately now. Probably I have to discuss the next topic and all. Then I'll come back to this. What do you mean by statistics? Is you call this as science of counting or science of averages. Okay, science of counting. Why you call this a science of counting means we talk about the frequency, number. That's why we call this a science of counting, or we call this a science of averages because we are going to analyze with the help of mean, median, mode, etc. Statistics in plural sense and in singular sense you can classify. Plural sense is data collection. In singular sense, we call it as data, where data is collected, presented, analyzed, and interference is done. Interference or interface, we call this as. That is interpretation, we call this as. Okay. Quantitative data and qualitative is the main classification. Quantitative can be further classified as discrete and further classified as continuous. Two modes of classification. If you say discrete, it's exact. See, number of petals in a flower. You can see 5, you can see 10. Number of misprints in the book. You can definitely say that number. Okay. Annual income of a person. Yes, you can say. Okay. Marks of a student. Yes, you can say. Whereas you go for continuous height of students. See, I collect a height of 50 students. Okay. I cannot exactly say that 5.7 because for 50 students, I cannot write 50 numbers. So what I do is, if a student is studying 10th grade or if a student is studying, you have seen this height, weight and age chart. If you Google search, you will find the picture where age, height and weight will be given in one tabular form. Okay, in this age, you have to be in this height. See, that height will be given in range. Range means minimum we have to be this 5 feet to 5.2 feet, etc. Okay. Height, weight, age, this and all is given in continuous form. For example, if you take age, less than 18, we call it as minus. Why we call it as minus? Losses. Okay, we don't have anything to do with that. Okay, less than 18. Less than 18 means born child to 18. Who has not yet completed 18 will be called as a minor. Okay. Qualitative is you define the character, you call it as attributes. It can be gender of the baby, it can be nationality, it can be color of the flower, it can be drinking habit, it can be anything. Apart from quantitative, everything is qualitative. Qualitative is particularly with attributes or chronological or geographical. Okay, nationality is geographical, right? Country wise. You are a US citizen. I came to know this recent article where Isha Ambani and Akash Ambani are not Indian citizens. You read this article? They are dominating India's culture and all. Okay, in each whatever the marriage or this Vinayak Chaturthi festival, definitely there will be a caption Ambani celebrating Vinayak Chaturthi. We'll have this one. Their marriage, how they take place, but they are not Indian citizens. Okay, so this is a news, but obviously we are talking about nationality here. So nationality is about quality, character, attributes. Okay, so this I have discussed collection with respect to primary source, which is collected fresh, and secondary source, which is already collected we are using, which means I cannot change it. Okay, if I want to change it, I cannot change it. Okay, that's about secondary source. This table is very important. You cannot have your own ideas. Please remember, this is a professional exam. So a team has collected, these are primary data and this is secondary data. You cannot have your own interpretations here. Okay. In case they say road accident, you cannot call this as observation. You have to call this as interview method. Interview method is three types. One is personal, one is indirect, and one is telephone. Under personal, natural calamity is a personal one. Okay. We may say many lost their lives in Wayanad landslide, many lost their lives in earthquake, many lost their lives in accident. You may be saying this as a news, but when you ask those victims personally, they will define in a different angle because they lost their lives, they lost their parents. It will be totally different. This is what you call as natural calamity, where you can do with respect to personal interview only. Personally, you go and interview that person. Okay. When you go for indirect road accident, a person has met in a road accident and is very serious. This reporter and goes before you go inside the ambulance, tell me how you got hit. Can you ask that person? Immediately you will be taken to jail. So you cannot do that, right? See, road accidents, you cannot directly ask that victim for that. Where we can ask the roadside goers or other bike riders or other witnesses, eyewitnesses we call. Okay. Telephonic interview. This is actually cheap and quickest but inconsistent. How many are answering the telephone calls? You receive a call saying that, madam. Then they say, you want loan, madam? Okay, I say thank you. Okay, whether they give the loan or not. See, telephonic interview. Cheap and quickest form, but you'll not get the results. Inconsistent. Okay. Mailed questionnaire is actually widest coverage. You can send it to anybody, but maximum nobody will fill the form. Am I right? If you receive a mail and you see that fill this form, definitely you will not fill it. Probably you get a WhatsApp message. You share this to 5 groups. You'll get this gold coin. You'll get this one. Probably maybe trying this, but mail questionnaire definitely you won't try. Okay. Then observation method, probably the instruments, how the height of the student is collected, how the BP is measured, how the sugar is measured, diabetic patients. See, everything we do with the help of instruments. It's not instruments, it's instruments. Then questionnaire and enumerator methods are there. What do you mean by enumerator is we go in detail. For a doctor, each and every patient history is different, right? For each and every patient, he has to completely give his ears, complete, which means he has to listen to everything. Completely, he has to check everything. He has to check the BP. The nurse cannot come and say, already 100 patients visited from the morning. Everybody have having normal BP. So don't worry, ma'am. You will also have normal BP. Will you go to the doctor? Okay, you won't go. See, enumerator is something where you cannot talk about samples. Instead, you go the population's complete study. Population means who are all visiting the doctor. The complete study has to be taken. You know, in each and every hospitals and clinic, they give a file. You take a test, it has to be filed. They give a file, everything has to be noted down. Okay, so this one all happens. Second resource is already collected. It can be international, national, or quasi government. International, national, and quasi government means international is completely foreign. National it's completely our Indian governments. What is quasi government means? It's like half non-governmental and half governmental. Okay, that powers will be given. Government will be giving the powers, so it's called as quasi government. Okay, so for example, regional data you get from census report, etc. Okay, this minority institutions and all. So this one collection we have chronological. I request to make a note of the alternate terms. Chronological is also called as temporal or time series. Geographical is called as partial. Qualitative is called as ordinal. Quantitative is called as cardinal. You remember cardinal number n. Whenever you say cardinal, it's about count. You count it. That's what you call as cardinal. Then modes of presentation, textual, that's what you call as descriptive way of presenting. Tabular, this is the best and accurate method. Diagrammatic, actually is attractive. Okay, we say non-vegetarians, we write in a table, 1000. Okay, vegetarians, some 900. It is not attractive. Instead, for non-vegetarian, we give a chicken leg. And for this one, we give some broccoli. It seems to be attractive. Okay, then diagrams can be diagrams, charts, or pictures. We'll come to this part later. Graphical, we have histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve, and also along with that we have ogive curves. We all have this in our syllabus and come bit later. Yes, please make a note of this one. Check whether you can manage this table. You need not make a note of anything. You just check what is this abscissa, what is this ordinate called as. So in the graph, you might be noting 12,5, where 12 is meant with the number associated with x-axis and 5 is meant with the number associated with y-axis, right? So this is what you call as y-coordinate, sorry, x-coordinate. 12 is the x-coordinate and 5 is the y-coordinate. This x-coordinate is what you call as the abscissa and this y-coordinate is what you call as the ordinate. You have to remember this stuff. That's it. Okay. Statistical tools or techniques what we use. We collect the data, tabulate the data. We have measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, and all. We have measures of dispersion, quartile deviation, standard deviation, mean deviation. We have time series, chronic. We have this normal equation method and all. We have probability. We have index number. We have sampling, business forecasting methods. We have test of significance analysis in the areas we have. We have statistical quality control. You need not worry. This is a list. In our syllabus, we are covering this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Yes, these are the things you are not covering. A CA, this one will be covered. Okay, so you need not worry about this and you don't try to memorize all this. Okay, collection of data. Actually, when we go for collection of data, automatically we'll go for scrutinizing also. What do you mean by scrutinizing this? As I was discussing one example, one student got 98, 99, and next test he got only 80. But what I did, I gave the mark as 99. This is what is called as scrutiny because I know that student is performing better always. In that one test, he did not perform well. Because in one test he did not perform well, I cannot say that he's not a best math student. So what I'm doing here is I'm changing this mark. This is what you call a scrutiny, which means verifying. Okay, this is what you call verification of accuracy, as well as internal cutters. You cannot directly, you cannot conduct one test and say he's better or he's good. I need to have a sequence of tests, right? That's what you call as related series. You cannot say one test and you cannot say he's good, he's bad. You cannot do that. Okay. Presentation, classification can be simple or two-hold or dichotomous. I want to highlight this name, dichotomous, which means two-hold or simple, which means I clearly say how many male students and how many female students. The classification is very simple. See, that's why it's called as simple. Why we call this as two-hold? Because it's male, female. You can again ask me. In many forms, probably I go and book a railway ticket, ma'am. In the IRCT website is given male, female and transgender. Okay. You see, it's two-hold means not exactly two-hold. Okay, usually we mean simple is two-hold. And we call this as dichotomous. Okay. And many-hold. Many-hold means more than two. Many-hold. Okay. I talk about male and female students along with the course they have taken, whether they have taken CA, CMA or CS. Okay, I have total number of students male, total number of students female. From this, I take CA students, CMA students separately for male, and CA students and CMA students separately for female. See, this is called as manifold, which means this is one classification and this is second classification, which means this classification is going one layer extra. Okay, another one layer is presented. That's why you call this as manifold. Many means many. Okay, don't read this as manifold. Okay, the money. Modes of representation, textual, tabulation, diagrammatic and graphical. Okay, textual presentation. I have not given the example. Textual means we take the help of words. We write in stories and stories. Okay. I ask you, how good are you in mathematics or statistics? Ma'am, in LKG, ma'am, I scored 10 out of 10, ma'am, because there is only 10 marks in the exam, writing from 1 ONE to TWO. Then in UKG, ma'am, the syllabus was tough, ma'am. Okay, then in first standard, ma'am, this was added, ma'am. Then second standard, ma'am, we asked with multiplication table, ma'am. If you tell all these stories, this is what you call textual presentation. Because you explain, you describe in words and words. You know, there will be one friend among in your group, always talking, talking and talking. The content will be nothing. Talking in stories. But the content, if you tabulate it, it will be in 4 lines. Okay, if you summarize the content, you will not find any content at all. And most of the movies nowadays are like that only, no? It will not have any content. If you summarize the movie, it will come in 2 lines. Okay. Tabular presentation, or you call as tabulation. It can be simple, which is simple means usually we call it as 2. Okay. Which is univariate. Why you call it as univariate? Gender is one classification, univariate. Or it can be complex, which is bivariate. Why this is bivariate? Among the gender, I'll be classifying the course wise. CA and CMA. Okay. So this is the example for a table. I have CA students. I have college students. Among the CA, how many are male? How many are female? Among the college students, how many are male and how many are female? Total number also will be represented. This is not a classification part. Only college students and CA students are classification. This is the total. This is not the classification. Okay. Likewise, how many male, how many female, and total. Total is not the classification. It's again two-whole classification. Okay. So how many layers are here? One layer and another layer. See, these are all columns. You know, what do you mean by row and column? See, if you talk something horizontally, you call this as row, right? These are our rows. If you talk something vertically, you call this as columns. For this column, this is the heading. Am I right? For this column, this is the heading. For this column, this is the heading. And this is the heading. Column headings are named as captions. Column headings are named as caption. You can please make a note on side by. Column headings are known as caption. The term uses caption. If you talk about rows, See, these data, okay, these data, one second. Yeah. See, I'll be writing some numbers right here. Okay. These data is representing, this one is representing 2016. For which year? 2016. This data is representing 2017. This is what we call as a stubs. Stub means row heading. What is stubs? Row heading. Please make a note of it. Row heading. Okay. STUB stubs. For each and every table, you have a table heading, table number. Okay. Table heading will be students opting for CA and college students or whatever it is. And one more thing, there'll be a source from where you have taken this data, from university record or something like that. So you give the credit source. Okay, this is a footnote. And in some cases, probably you can make a note of it. Header also will be given. What do you mean by header is, if you take a balance sheet, you might have taken note that it is given in rupees crores, it's given in rupees lakhs. So that will be the header. Some note will be given here. That's what you call as header. You can please make a note of it. Header. Okay. Shall I take over? This is what you call as parts of the table. So you'll have table heading 1, table number 2. We'll call this as captions 3, stubs 4, and footnote and head note. Put together, you call this as source and other thing. Call this as 5. So 5 parts of the table are there. Okay. Taking over. Diagrammatic representation. Actually, I'm going to give this completely to you as an assignment. You can try this one because we'll not take the diagrams and all for exam. Uh, if in mention, probably you may be getting pie diagram alone. So, pie diagram. Talking in degrees is pie diagram. Percentage means you take with respect to 100. Pie diagrams you take with respect to 360 degrees. Okay. So, what are the different diagrammatic representation we have is line diagram or historiogram. Please highlight this word. Historiogram, not histogram. It is historiogram. Bar diagram and pie chart. Okay. Line diagram or the other name for line diagram is historiogram, bar diagram and pie chart. So line diagram and historiogram, I'll just define this. You'll get a line like. Okay. You'll not call this as what? You'll not call this as curve. Instead, you call this as line. Okay. Because if we plot this value, we get it as a line. See, for all these examples, you'll not have x-axis and y-axis because it's not graph. It's diagrams. Graph means you'll have x-axis and y-axis. Here is not x-axis. You cannot call this as x-axis. See, when we draw graphs is meant for quantitative data only. For qualitative data, see, this is year-wise. What is year-wise data called as? Chronological. See, we have chronological, geographical, and what? Qualitative. This is chronological data. Chronological data means you cannot go for graph. You go for, see, it may be a number, but still you cannot call this as a data. This is quantifying data. Okay. So this is a line diagram or historiogram. And you call this as logarithmic or ratio chart. The highlight when you can use this chart is you can find this value. See 10, 100, where you can write as 10 power 1, 10 power 2, 10 power 3. If you can present in this manner, you can call this as logarithmic or ratio chart, where you get a perfect line like. Earlier one also is a line, but somewhat it bends, not a straight line, but it bends. And here's a perfect straight line. So if you find this type of a chart, and you can call this as a logarithmic or a ratio chart. Okay. Then multiple line chart is meant for two type of data. See, for a particular year, you have profit and also you have sales. Both the data has to be present in a single diagram. So you get two lines. So this blue line is meant for profit and this red line is meant for sales. Okay. Then multiple axis line chart. Actually, you know what is multiple axis line chart? We'll have x-axis, we'll have y-axis, and you'll have z-axis. Obviously, I'm not talking about graphs. if you have data with respect to what CA students or college students, we have data with respect to male students, female students, and below that we have another layer talking with respect to North Indian and South Indian. How many, probably you know this, we write exams in two modes, two language. One is Hindi and one is English. How many students write in Hindi and how many students write in English? See, one layer, two layer, three layer. You call this as multiple access chart. It's not in our syllabus, not much covered, but you can just have an idea of this. Then bar diagram. First one is horizontal bar diagram. See, you can see the bar sleeping. Horizontal means what? Sleeping bars. Okay. Then vertical bar diagram. It will be standing bars. Vertical means standing bars. Multiple or grouped diagrams, bar diagrams, where you go for two types of data for the particular one single year. Profit and sales, everything is drawn with respect to bars. Component subdivided diagram. For each and every year you add, see, if it is only for two profit and loss data means it's okay. I can draw two different bars. When it comes for sale, profit, material, labor, expenses, I need to draw 5 bars, right? Totally. Instead of drawing 5 bars, I take one single bar and divide the data. See, what's the data? 250, 100, 200, 250, total is 500. So up to 500, I'm drawing the bar. Then I divide it. That's why it's named as subdivided. The full bar is divided for the different components. So this is meant for 2002. So this is 2002, then 2003, 2004, 2005 and 2006. See, we are not going to draw all these data for the exam. Okay, probably a table may be given like this, or a graph or bar diagram may be given, and you may be asked to represent any one value. So you need to know what is that. Okay, so you need not very much. You need to have the knowledge. That's it. Divided, or what you call as percentage bar diagram. Yes, this is what once asked. Actually, when we talk about percentage diagram, see, you find all the bars as 100%, all equal height bars. Because percentage means everything convert to 100, right? That's what you call as percentage. So everything will be to 100%. Okay. Then we have pie diagram, or call as circle diagram. Percentage is calculated with respect to 100, whereas for pie diagram is also called as circle diagram. One full circle is 360 degrees. So it's calculated with respect to 360. Is it okay? So if material is given, 100 rupees you spend for the material, which is 100 by 250. Where you got this 250? The total. 100, labor, expenses, profit. Put together is 250. So what percentage is meant for material? 100 by 250, 40%. Actually, not 40%, it's 40 degrees. Huh? What's the value? Can I get the value? It's 144 degrees. You can just make corrections on this. It's 144 degrees. Okay. Likewise for 50, it's 72 degrees. Okay, this is 72 degrees and this is 70 degrees. If you add all together, it will be 360 degrees. So you're converting to degrees, not percentage. You have to make a correction over here. So till here, diagrams are over. I have to go with graphs next. Yes, you can please